Yay, drum roll.
Good
All right, this is Mr. Brenner here from Action Karate. I'm with the Kavalkovich family, Eddie and Eddie's mom. Say hi.
Hi.
So tell us, Peggy, a little bit more about why you got started in Action Karate for Eddie.
So we started at 3. He was 3 years old, and he was pretty much nonverbal. He didn't have many words in his vocabulary. We had early intervention out here. And one of the things that was brought up was about karate. And my mom was very insistent on him learning karate because she always wanted me to learn, and I never did. So somebody that we knew was going to Action. We came there, and it was an immediate click. Eddie loved the classes. He loved the instructors. He still really wasn't able to talk, but he was able to understand what was going on and do everything that was asked. One of the problems that we had in the beginning was he would get easily frustrated because obviously he can't tell you what he wants. So he would be easily frustrated. And when he started in karate, a lot of the lessons revolved around attention and focus and maintaining your mental health as well as your physical health, and even for a young child. And in the Little Ninja class, Eddie, while learning that, was learning words in school, and then he was learning how to cope with things in karate. So it really made a difference for him and for us at home. If you get to know him now 6 years later, he talks all the time, and he has absolutely no problem with any kind of words, but his behavior, getting so frustrated, has ceased. As he aged into from Little Ninjas on, there were so many more things that he learned that we were blessed to have come to Action. I don't know if you want me to talk more about those situations.
Go for it, please do.
So eventually, as it happens in schools, he ended up having a bullying situation that occurred, and he was not able to understand what was going on at the time, but eventually he understood. And one of the lessons that Action taught him was how to deal with bullies. And what was funny is the bullying situation that occurred was because a bully was bullying a girl, and Eddie intervened and helped out like he was taught in karate, without words, without getting too much involved. He just went and, said, that's not good, let's give her back her toy, and walked away. And he never thought anything of it. And then the kids started coming after him, and he didn't understand why, because he's like, I did what I was supposed to do. But he learned how to not retaliate, how to not take too much in, how to, like I said, he knew how to defend himself, but he didn't. He did all the right things. He spoke up. He went to a teacher. He went to a parent. He did all of the right things that a little child in kindergarten wouldn't know to do if he didn't have the people, the teachers at Action Karate that thought ahead to teach them life skills at that age.
That's amazing. So when you hear about that as a parent, right, whether Eddie tells it to you or teacher tells it to you, whatever, you find out, how does that make you feel as a parent?
I was amazed. We were at an Easter egg hunt, and this woman came up and said, I want to tell you how amazing your child is, because my daughter was getting tortured, and Eddie helped her out. And I'm like, I had no clue that that's what started the whole thing. So I felt amazing. And I was so proud. Well, I'm always proud of him, but I was so proud that to see something that we invested so much time, it's time, it's money, it's the mommy carpool, all of that. And to see that paid in full coming out, like with not only the physical part, but also the mental part and the development part. It was really a blessing. So not only was I proud of him, but I'm proud of where we chose.
Okay, great. And I think that's a beautiful thing, right? As a parent, like, what else would you want than another parent coming up to you and telling you how great your child was to their child, right? Mm-hmm. So what kind of an impact do you think that has on Eddie long term? Like, for him to learn those lessons when he's so young, now as he's getting older. So that's when he was in kindergarten. So how old is he now?
He's 9 now, and I can tell you I was a little afraid that he was going to be, I knew he was never going to be shy, but I thought he would be a follower more than a leader. And at the start of, when we started to lock down, I always had 20 some kids on the front lawn. I actually spray painted a football field out front. And so I can tell you with that many boys and the age ranges from first grade all the way up to 7th, you're going to have some arguments. And there was one argument between two brothers, and it was funny. I was sitting inside and I heard Eddie. He literally got between them and he said, listen, guys, how about we do this? And he brainstormed a couple different things, totally bypassed the whole argument, the fight, whatever. And all the kids just kept playing. And it was amazing for me to see that this 9-year-old corralled this big group of kids and took on a leadership role. So I don't think he would have been there at 9 if he hadn't started at 3 and got all of these lessons and this preparation for life that he has. So he's definitely become a leader.
Yes.
That's amazing. So, wow, that just blows my mind. That's the first time I actually heard that story.
Yeah.
I knew about the other one. I've heard that one in the past.
Yeah.
The one. So tell me about, where do you feel like he goes from here? Like, I know he's about to, he's testing, right, for his black belt. And how do you envision him keep on growing as he continues his life as a martial artist, right? Even as a kid, 9 years old, he is a martial artist, right? So it's become like who he is, right? It's like just part of who he is, his identity. So tell me more about that. How do you envision him continuing to grow?
So one of the things that he's talked about before is he loved working with the little kids. He wants to be, like you or Mr. McQuaid. And he even said, Mr. Bobby, to be there and teach what he knows. That has been one of his goals that he told me about. And then he also expressed interest and what I thought is a while ago, you were actually bringing in not only the nutrition part, but also different aspects of martial arts, like I can't say it, jujitsu. I can't say the word. But
yeah, jujitsu, yeah.
Something like that.
So he had said that before, that he was interested in learning all different aspects too. But he wants to learn more about it. Like right now, he's still learning. He's learning basics, but he's learning a lot more than just basics. But I can see him growing into a more multifaceted way as well. I think he really enjoys it and loves it.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And when we get back to more of that physicality, I'll happily teach you, Eddie. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're allowed to do that stuff again, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll get back to that. So tell me about how karate has affected you guys as like a family.
In the beginning, it helped us a lot because, like I said, there was parts where he would get so frustrated that the early intervention people had to teach me how to hold him correctly, because he would get so violently, like not violent, but like he would just thrash himself because he could not process why nobody could understand him. Lately, it's helped because just within school, I mean, he sits in front of that computer screen. We're in an era now that's very weird for us, let alone the kids. And very seldom does he lose his train of thought. A few times I've heard him not correct other kids, but try and help them like along, like, okay, well, this is where we're at when the kid's not following along. This is where we're at. Let me help you. I can really see him being a leader. But it also helps me at home because I never have to really ask him for help. Like I may say, could you help me? But I mean, he's always the first to ask if you need help, or, I mean, he's my right-hand man.
Yeah.
He's, it's been really good for us because we now have another family. Like, Action is our family too. So it's been a blessing all around, especially in this time and era. You need every facet of life that you can get to because everything's crazy.
Totally, totally. So thank you for sharing all that, and I really appreciate you going into detail. So one last thing is, what would you say to someone who is maybe skeptical about whether karate is going to be good for their child, or they're just not sure something karate is going to be good for them?
One, I would say it doesn't matter whatever reason you could think of. It's absolutely going to be beneficial. Body, mind, health wise, you cover everything. It's there's not really a downside. And if they're worried about time or fighting, there's so many times. I mean, he's testing for black belt, and I can tell you there's so many times where he just felt like, I don't want to go. And then I'll say, okay, what are your goals? And he eventually gets there, and then he loves it, and he doesn't understand where the 45 minutes went. So there's really not a downside, because you see everything. Even when you look at the cost of anything anymore, everybody always looks at money. It's well worth the money to see the outcome of the whole person that comes out. So there's not really a downside. That's what I would tell them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to see Eddie earn his black belt. I'm going to need probably half a box of tissues for that one.
I know.
And I'll be so excited for him. And of course, for him to continue to grow as not only as a martial artist, but also as a young adult as he gets older.